16-year-old Emily had always thought babysitting would be an easy way to earn money, especially in a quiet town like Millridge. When the Wards, a wealthy but reclusive couple, asked her to watch their son Liam for the evening, she said yes without hesitation. Their house stood alone at the far end of Willow Creek Road, wrapped in thick fog and surrounded by towering pine trees. The house was beautiful, but carried an air of sadness, like it had witnessed things no one talked about. Inside, the wallpaper was faded, the furniture antique, and the lighting dim. Emily felt a slight chill as she stepped in, though it was summer. Ward greeted her with a polite smile, while Mr. Ward simply gave her a stern nod. Liam, their 5-year-old son, peeked from behind a door, holding a dirty stuffed rabbit in his hand. "You'll find everything you need in the kitchen," Mrs. Ward said, grabbing her coat. "Liam should be in bed by 9. And please don't go near the basement. It's off limits," Mr. Ward added. "If you hear anything strange, it's just the house settling. Happens all the time in these old homes." With that, they left, the heavy door creaking shut behind them. Emily tried to brush off the eerie feeling and focused on keeping Liam entertained. He barely spoke a word, but followed her around silently, eyes wide and watchful. She gave him some macaroni and cheese, then played a short cartoon for him before leading him upstairs. As she tucked him into bed, he whispered something that made her skin crawl. "The thing in the basement doesn't like new people." She froze for a second, then smiled nervously, assuming he was just playing or repeating something he had overheard. But when she asked him to explain, he shut his eyes tight and didn't respond. Emily turned off the lights and left the door slightly open. The hallway outside his room felt unusually cold, the kind of cold that seemed to come from inside the walls. Downstairs, she tried to relax on the couch, scrolling through her phone, but the silence around her felt too deep, too unnatural. Then came the noisy, faint dragging sound, like something heavy being pulled across the floor. It came from behind the basement door. Remembering the warning, she stood still, heart thudding, not daring to move closer. Just as she turned toward the kitchen to distract herself, a whisper echoed through the hallway. "Emily." It was soft and drawn out, not Liam's voice, not even a child's voice. She stared at the staircase, every muscle in her body tense. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone, the screen now glitching as if something unseen was interfering with it. Curiosity and fear battled within her. She took a step toward the basement, unable to help herself. That's when she saw it. The basement door was slightly ajar, even though she remembered it being firmly shut. Worse still, long scratch marks, fresh and red, ran down the wood. Something had come out or was waiting for her to come in. Emily stared at the claw marks on the basement door, her breath caught in her throat. They weren't old marks from a dog or some renovation accident. These were fresh, deep, and still oozing a dark, sticky substance. Her instincts screamed at her to run, but something stronger held her in place. The need to protect Liam. She tiptoed upstairs to check on the boy. His room was dimly lit by the hallway nightlight, and he was still in bed, clutching his rabbit. But something was different. His blanket was pushed to the side, and he was sweating heavily, as if he had been in a nightmare. She gently touched his forehead. It was ice cold. Then, without opening his eyes, he muttered, "It's hungry again." A sudden bang echoed from below, like something crashing against the basement door. Emily jumped, heart racing. She quickly locked Liam's bedroom door from inside and sat down beside the bed. Her thoughts spiraled. Was someone living in the basement? Was this a setup? Or was there really something not human down there? The sound came again, this time followed by a low growl. Not like a dog's growl, but something much deeper, almost hollow. Emily's phone had no signal now, and even the house's landline was dead. She wanted to scream but knew she had to stay calm for Liam's sake. Suddenly, the lights flickered, then went out completely, plunging the room into darkness. Emily fumbled for her phone's flashlight and turned it on. In the brief flash of light, she saw something under Liam's bedays, glowing faintly red, just for a second. She froze. When she looked again, they were gone. Grabbing Liam, she wrapped him in a blanket and whispered, "We're going to hide, okay?" He nodded weakly, as if he already knew this moment would come. They slipped into the closet, and she shut the door, silently. From within, she could hear the basement door creak open downstairs, and then the sound of something dragging itself across the floor. Then came the voice again, louder this time, and clearer, hoarse and ancient, echoing up the stairs. "Emily, come see what I really am." Emily held Liam close as they hid in the dark closet, her heart pounding like a drum. The thing was now in the hallway, its dragging steps slow but deliberate. Wooden boards creaked under its weight. Each step seemed to pull the warmth from the air. Emily covered Liam's ears as the creature whispered again, this time right outside the bedroom door. "You can't protect him." Suddenly, the bedroom doorknob began to twist violently. Emily held her breath, praying the lock would hold. The door shuddered under a powerful slam, again and again, until finally it stopped. Silence. A silence so heavy, it made her ears ring. She waited, frozen, for what felt like hours but was only seconds. Then, without warning, the closet door flung open. Emily screamed and threw herself over Liam. But nothing was there, only cold air and the dim glow of her flashlight, flickering weakly on the floor. The door to the bedroom now stood wide open. Something had lured them out, or worse, it wanted them to follow. With no better plan, Emily scooped Liam into her arms and stepped into the hallway. The air smelled like rust and decay. As she passed the basement stairs, she saw the door was now completely open. A thick darkness seeped out of it like smoke. Liam clutched her tightly and whispered, "It lives in the dark." But it wasn't always like that. Emily hesitated, then made a bold decision. She needed to end this. Whatever this monster was, it had a connection to Liam, and maybe even the wards. She crept down the basement stairs, each step creaking under her weight. The air grew colder, the smell stronger. At the bottom was a large room, with stone wall sand, a mirror. In the mirror's reflection, she didn't see herself, but a twisted, monstrous version of Liam, with hollow eyes and black veins crawling up his skin. Behind him stood a woman in a nurse's uniform, whispering curses into his ear. Emily turned around, but there was no one, just the mirror, showing a reality that shouldn't exist. Suddenly, the mirror cracked and shattered. A shriek filled the basement, shaking the walls. Emily grabbed a rusted metal rod and swung it at the remains of the glass. With each strike, the scream grew weaker, until finally it was gone. Silence returned. The basement felt lighter. Emily carried Liam upstairs just as the front door burst open. Mr. and Mrs. Ward stood there, shocked. Mrs. Ward's eyes filled with tears. "You broke the curse," she whispered. "We thought we lost him forever." The monster was never just in the basement. It lived in the lies, the silence, and the shadows of a forgotten tragedy. And Emily, the babysitter, had finally brought the truth into the light.